Hello Tuesday. Let's start with a Der Spiegel article interviewing Christine Lagarde, the new of the IMF. Der Spiegel says to her, "Is the world on the brink of a renewed recession?" And she said, "We are in a situation where we can still avoid it. The spectrum of policies available to the various governments and central banks is narrower because a lot of the ammunition was used in 2009. But if the various governments, international institutions, and central banks work together, we will avoid the recession." And then the rest of the interview is all political blah blah, but the crunchy things in there. If the governments, international institutions and central banks work together, they can avoid the recession. I don't think they can, but that's her get out clause, because when there is a recession she can point to it and say, well, if we had all worked together and been all very good, it would have all been very nice. But of course, the various governments, international institutions, that's kind of like the IMF. And central banks working together is impossible, so there'll be a recession. The fatal distraction. Krugman. Friday brought two numbers that should have everyone in Washington saying, "Oh my God, what have we done?" One of these numbers was 0, the number of jobs created in August. The other one was 2. The interest rate on the 10-year US bond, almost as low as this rate has ever gone. Taken together, these numbers almost scream that inside the Beltway, the crowd has been worrying about the wrong things and inflicting grievous harm as a result. So says Paulie. Meanwhile, GOP to Obama push for a balanced budget amendment. CNN says that Republicans want President Barack Obama to demand a balanced budget amendment in his upcoming job speech to Congress. Doubt it. Don't know what he is going to say. It's going to be reasonably interesting. I'm not going to wait up and watch it, but what can he say, the poor love, really? I don't know. It's like the Republicans really want to get everything to be in such a terrible, terrible state that they're going to call for change and go over to the Republicans to make a cock of it instead of the Democrats making a cock of it. But when it comes down to it, I mean, the government can do this, it can do that. It can actually go and make jobs, but they are make jobs, mostly. And that's not the American way, so it's all very tricky. I don't envy them, these politicians. Fine job when everything's going swimmingly well, but it can't be easy when everything's going to, flustercluck. President monthly approval, monthly total, index approval, index how he's doing, Rasmussen. Not good, -21. So he's got to do something, or he's going to get his ass kicked. He should win, shouldn't he? If he does run. I mean, I read actually one of the, I forget which one was called the reasonable candidate or non-radical candidate for the Republicans, and they were reasonable or non-radical because they actually believed in science, believed in evolution. Hang on. Scratch his head. Oh, guilt. Madness. Washington Post, Obama's decision on smog rule offers hint of regulation strategy. President Obama's controversial decision last week to suspend new anti-smog standards offered hints, but not the full roadmap, of how the White House will navigate politically explosive battles with congressional Republicans over which industry regulations to sacrifice and which ones to fight for this fall. It's this political thing in America that they've made it. They have made it. So it's just absolutely money, 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 and you have got to have incredible amounts of money to run for these campaigns. And when it comes down to it, there aren't, an awful lot of people have got incredible amounts of money, 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 money. That sort of thing is an exclusive thing on, they've got it and most people haven't got it. I'll go to the last paragraph, seeing how I've had a wobbly gob there. Most notable in the smog decision was that Obama made it himself. Oh, like a big boy. Undercutting his own Environment Protection Agency leadership and siding with industry officials who warned that stricter ozone standards risked further damage to a fragile economy. Presumably so he can get some campaign contributions from these industry officials. It's pretty sad, isn't it? Don't you think? I mean, we've all heard it before that, Washington is bought and sold by the money. But when you do think about it, it's sad. Very sad. Okay, this comment. Average real income per family in the United States grew by 32% from 1975 to 2006. Okay, average real income per family in the United States grew 32%, 75 to 2006, while they only grew by 27%, 5% less in France, same period. But, and this is what you've got to notice with a lot of these statistics, when they do this average thing, it includes the top 1% who are just out of all possible. I mean, they don't exist in any sort of our reality. They just don't exist in reality. You've got to take that 1% out because they're just on another planet. Okay. So if you take them out, that average real income per family drops to 18% in the United States. It was 32 with them included, but it drops to 18 if you take them out, the 1% out. So 32 down to 18, but France drops from 27 to 26. They don't have this ridiculous 1% at the top problem. But it's something that's always got to be looked for in statistics, to take that 1% out, because they really skew any number that people use. They skew everything, don't they, really, quite frankly. Italy's Tremonti repeats call for Eurobonds. Reuters, Italian Economy Minister Giulio Tremonti repeated his call for jointly issued Eurobonds on Sunday, warning that there would otherwise be big problems for the Eurozone. Well, the ECB will just get bored of buying Italian bonds day in, day out, month in, month out, year in, year out. The Eurobonds will absolutely be done, he said to a business conference in northern Italian town of Cenobio. Either we do the Eurobonds or we will have critical problems. And that's damn right. But for the moment, Eurobonds are verboten. Last thing, just so we don't forget the banks and the fact that they've slipped back to just about all the naughtiness they were doing 4 or 5 years ago. They're doing it all again. The bosses of Britain's bailout banks, etc., you can imagine. The top bosses are being paid more now than they were in 2007. And as I say, they're back to all their naughty monkey business. But that's what banks have to do to keep their... Why do they do it? Keeps their stock price up, keeps their employees happy. And it's just the way that banks do business nowadays. You just get into a rut. You get into the way of doing things, and that's the way they do things. If they started trying to do things what a lot of regulators would call the honest and decent way, they'd lose employees, they'd lose market value, they wouldn't get money lent to them, and they'd fall apart. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is bloody ridiculous. Good luck to the world, I say. Bye. See you tomorrow.